I have another example that I want to take a look at trying that pairwise comparison method. And this time we do have 4 candidates, A, B, C, and D. So we're asking who is the winner with this. So if we remember from our instructions, we said, well, with 4 candidates, we have 6 head-to-head. So that's what I want to identify first. Let's just set up what are all of our head-to-heads. So maybe we'll start with A and figure out who are all the people we could pit A against. So we could say do A versus B, we could do A versus C, and we could do A versus D. A then is compared to everybody, so now let's move on to someone else. Let's say look at B. Who can B go up against? Well, B was already versus A, we don't have to do it again, so then we could look at B versus C and B versus D. And then we could look at, all right, what am I missing still? Last would be C versus D. And in the bottom, we will keep track of points for A, B, C, and D. So let's do A versus B first. So remember, all we're looking at is we're going to look through the whole table and look column by column, only focus on A and B. So nobody else matters right now, just A and B. So looking at just A and B in the first column, we ask who is preferred, and it's B. So B is preferred, so we award all of the votes for that column to B, which is 6 votes. So B gets 6. In the next column, looking at A versus B, we've got B is preferred, so they get those 7 votes. In the third column, we've got A versus B. Now we have A is preferred to B, so they get 3 votes. And in the last column, B versus A, B is preferred, so B gets 4 votes. Counting those up, A got 3 and B got 6, 7, and 4 is 17. So B was the winner there, so we'll award B 1 point. Let's take a look now at A versus C. So now we'll start over. So now just we're looking at A and C is all. Ignore everybody else. So here's A and here's C. So between A and C, C is preferred. C then gets those 6. And the next one between just A and C, C is preferred, so C gets 7. And the next one between A and C, A is preferred, so A gets 3. And then the last one, A versus C, A is preferred, so A gets 4. So then A had 3 and 4 for a total of 7, C had 6 and 7 for a total of 13, C had more, so C wins. So we will award C a point down below. And then we move on to the next one. So now we're on to A versus D. So with A and D, D is preferred, D gets 6. In this next column, A and D, D is preferred to A, so D gets 7. And then A and D in the third column, A is preferred, so A gets 3. And then A and D in the fourth column, A is preferred, so A gets 4. So again, 3 and 4 is 7, but 6 and 7 is 13. So D wins with more, so D won a point. So at the moment, we're all tied up with B, C, and D. Moving on now to B versus C. Again, only look at B and C, so looking at B and C, we see that C is preferred to B, so C gets 6. In the next one, C and B, C is preferred, so they get 7. In the next one, B and C, B is preferred, so B gets 3. And then B and C in the fourth, B is preferred, so B gets 4. So again, totals of 7 to 13. C's going to win that one. Moving on to B versus D. B versus D, D is preferred to B, so D gets 6. B versus D in the second column, B is preferred, so they get 7. And the third one, B versus D, D is preferred, so D gets 3. And then in the last one, B and D, B is preferred, so B gets 4. 7 and 4 is 11, 6 and 3 is 9, so B did sneak out a win there. Remember, if it had ended up that, like in this one in theory, it could have been possible that they both had 10. If that had happened, it didn't happen here, but if we did have like 10 versus 10, we would award each of them half a point, is how that would be handled. So when we tally them in the end, they would both get half a point. That isn't what happened here, but it could have. But that's what you do in the case of a tie. And then C versus D, our last head-to-head, C versus D. D is preferred with 6. C versus D. C is preferred with 7. C versus D. D is preferred with 3. And then C versus D. C is preferred with 4. So C got 7 and 4 is 11. D got 6 and 3 is 9. So C won that last head-to-head. So now when we look at who won the most points, the most head-to-heads, the answer would be C. So C wins with the most points. So kind of a cool technique, but again, I wanted to see an example where we do have 4 candidates, so we have all 6 of those head-to-heads. We do have to do all of them. And then in each one, remember, you're just looking at those 2 candidates and just seeing who gets the points between just looking at these 2.